On behalf of the Research Coordinating Center of the Health Disparity Network in reducing health disparities in multiple chronic diseases, we would like to welcome you to our Investigator Skill Development workshop today. We are honored to be joined by Ms. Damaris Javier and Katie Stinson in sharing with us a presentation on National Research Mentoring Network, a guided tour of NRMN resources. Ms. Damaris Javier is the Associate Director and of the Program Management of the National Research Mentoring Research Network Resource Center. As the Associate Director of this program, she leads the strategic efforts related to NRMN, recruitment, partnership, and presence at national conferences and meetings, as well as managing project goals and deliverables, reporting matters, and day-to-day activity. Ms. Katie Stinson is a Senior Program Manager with Vanderbilt University Medical Center, Department of Biomedical Informatics, where she works on multiple NIH-funded projects, including the NRMN mission and AIM Ahead. Her work is largely focused on writing manuscripts, software training, and program management and development. But before we get started with the presentation, we would like to, Amanda, if you don't mind, share, yes, our land statement. Acknowledge the Ramatish Ulani people who are the traditional custodians of this land. We pay our respects to the Ramatish Ulani elders, past, present, and future, who call this place the land that UCSF sits upon, their home. We are proud to continue their tradition of coming together and growing as a community. We thank the Ramatish Ulani community for their stewardship and support, and we look forward to strengthening our ties as we continue our relationship of mutual respect and understanding. We would also like to emphasize that you are more than welcome to ask questions through the chat. Hopefully we'll be able to address them either during the presentation, depending on the question asked, or at the end of the presentation as indicated. Ms. Javier and Stinson, we're very happy to have you and welcome.
Thank you for the introduction. And we have before we get started, just an introduction activity, just to get to know each other a little bit better and help tailor some of the content accordingly. And so here, if you, on the chat, I included a link. If you click on it, it will direct you to a page. You could show the page with 2 questions. If you add your name and answer these questions, it could be really brief. So one of them is, what resources would be most valuable as you navigate this stage of your career? And the next one is, what does mentoring mean to you? And so we'll just take a couple minutes to complete this component before we get started. And so let us know if you do not see or have the link.
I'm so excited to see all the anonymous animals chiming in. And the names too.
Oh, so this is a big one, right? It's navigating the grantmanship journey and how to obtain federal funds or other type of grants, which is really an important component of any career stage within this field.
Yeah, I like the one from Eugene about running a nonprofit. There's so much involved with running a nonprofit, and especially continuing that grant funding to keep the nonprofit going. So I really like that you are really emphasizing that, and it kind of showing what you're looking toward doing later on, or even doing now. I also like how Dan talks about empowerment when it comes to mentoring. You know, so much of it isn't just about guiding toward the next step. It's about giving people the confidence to get to those next steps and to figure out what they want to do next. So I really like that aspect of it.
No, Jean, also the component of access, and that's such a good component of good mentorship, right? And being provided with opportunities and access, as well as knowledge. And I'll tie it back to grantmanship and obtaining knowledge in that regard.
So, and I want to point out in this part too, part of the reason we like to start with this is to just learn a little bit more about all of you, because I know this ends up being very one-sided, but also we want to make sure that you all feel comfortable to speak up throughout this session and ask questions and really get involved in this. So much about what NRMN is about building that network and feeling that confidence and ability just to go out and start reaching out to people and building your professional network. So if anybody doesn't want to type it out and put their name next to something, but would prefer to raise their hand and speak up, please feel free to do so. We welcome that.
Thank you, Katie. And in addition to unmuting yourself, you could also write it in the chat.
I really, really like the health equity networking resources. Another organization I used to work with was really focused on health equity, specifically when it came to AI and machine learning. So there's definitely such just a wealth of information that feeds into the health equity aspect of it. So it's really interesting whenever you're especially just focused on one piece of it, because even that one piece is so massive once you start diving into it.
In terms of mentoring, that theme of support is coming up frequently, and you're right. Mentoring is about receiving support in any career stage, but I also like the component where it's co-learning. And so a definition that was provided by a committee that put together a report on mentoring and STEM, effective mentoring and STEM. They highlight that co-learning component. So it's not one-sided, right? So not only is the mentee learning, but the mentor is also learning in this journey. So thank you for sharing that. And we also have, again, grant writing resources and budget management and HR process like hiring CRCs.
You know, I like this, Damaris. Usually whenever we do these, it's like 1 or 2 word answers. So I really like that people are giving full thought out, really developed responses here.
So it looks like we have 4 people. Does anybody want to unmute themselves and maybe share some thoughts? Before we move on.
All right, we're going to let the anonymous dragon finish their thought on this one. I know you have a name, but I love that Google does the animals. It just makes it more fun. All right, wonderful. This is so great to see how you all are thinking about going into this and really how you're already perceiving mentoring and the resources that are going to help you get from your current education and career stage to whatever you want to do next. So thank you all for your contributions here. And if you weren't able to contribute, we know you were thinking about it anyway. So thank you for that. All right. Damaris, should we go ahead and move on to the next thing?
One more person.
Oh.
Writing, so networking. And so we will provide today an overview of a great resource for networking. And throughout our presentations, we'll make sure to try to hit some of these components of that you all noted as valuable at this point of your career. And again, that concept of support continues to come up. Okay, so we'll move on and get started and highlight some resources that could help with some of these components. And so again, I'm Damaris Javier. I do want to provide an update. As of recently, I started a new position as an associate director for research training programs at the Institute of Health Disparities at the University of North Texas Health Science Center. That's a mouthful, but I still remain as a co-investigator with NRMN, and I've been part of NRMN since almost the inception, since 2015. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here and talk about NRMN. I do want to take a moment and highlight that Rhoda Patane is the program manager for NRMN, and also recently started this new position with NRMN. Do you want to say anything, Rhoda?
It's very nice to meet you, everyone, and I'm really excited that we're all here. I'm also learning because this is very new to me too. So yeah, I really appreciate that we're all in this together, and I'll be your support also in the coming months and years.
And Katie.
Yeah, and just a quick update from me too. This is very, very, very recent, but we also recently switched from Vanderbilt University Medical Center to now I am working with the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston. But otherwise, everything that was mentioned stays the same. So just want to update, and that's why my background is burnt orange now.
Okay, next slide. So today we're going to go over NRMN. Just a brief overview where NRMN came from. So there was a study that was put out back in 2012, and from that, some recommendations were drafted as part of a report to the advisory committee to the director working group at NIH. And that study highlighted a couple of components or recommendations of issues to address to diversify the biomedical field. I want to highlight 3 here. One is transition points, so transitioning from those career stages, undergrad to grad to postdoc, etc., all the way to senior faculty. Mentorship, and so a lot of you provided great thoughts about what mentorship means, and just I wanted to add to that has also been established through the literature and highlighted that mentorship is an important component that can help with career transition, that can help with self-efficacy, that could help with confidence, that could really help persist within these fields. So that's one component. And the other one is the unconscious and unconscious bias. There are more, but I wanted to highlight 3 and how NRMN comes in. And so the next slide, basically NRMN, next slide. NRMN is part of a larger effort from NIH to address, that was part of addressing some of those recommendations. And so we have NRMN, we also have build institutions, and then we have the Center for Coordination Evaluation. Today, we'll just focus on the resources available through NRMN Resource Center. Next slide. And so what is NRMN? Again, it's funded by NIH. So all these resources that we are going to highlight, they're free to all individuals. And basically the goal is to increase diversity within the biomedical research workforce and STEM fields through culturally responsive mentorship, networking, and professional development. In order to join NRMN, mentees need to be mentors and mentees need to be of age 18 and over. A NIH requirement is that mentees also be U.S. citizen, permanent resident, and non-citizen U.S. national. If a mentee does not meet that criteria, we have another role. It's called member, and does not require that specific criteria. However, Katie will highlight which resources are not. There are a couple of resources that are not available to members, and Katie can highlight those throughout the demo. Right now, we have over 27,000 mentors and mentees and members nationwide. And so the next slide should show a geographical distribution of our NRMN participants. And so yellow are our members, red are our mentors, and green are our mentees. And so to the earlier point where you are all looking for ways to network, this is a beautiful place where you can come in to network with individuals across the country. Next slide. Okay, and so there are some resources that are available without signing up, and I'll go over these because I think I could hit some of the components you all noted as important at this moment. But there are also some resources that would be available to you once you sign up. The resources that are available without signing up is our NRMN website, which is structured by resources by career stage from undergrad all the way to senior faculty, including administrators. I want to highlight the NRMN newsletter and community updates because here we are including information like grant opportunities. NIH, as a really close partner, sends us opportunities that are available along with other agencies, and we include those in the newsletter. So this is a good place to find those funding, diversity, and other types of federal agency as well as other agencies. We have can you all hear me? I'm getting a note that my internet is, you can hear me, okay. We also have a NRMN social media platforms, including LinkedIn and Facebook. And so you're welcome to follow us there. And we tend to post about events and opportunities going on there. And I also want to notate the career development webinars. We do host different types of career development webinars, and these include to some of the earlier points, grantmanship types of webinars like NIH funding mechanisms or how to write a grant application. So we have different types of webinars we put together. Then you have resources that are available after you sign up. And so here, basically, I'll pass it on to Katie, which will show you a live presentation of the resources that are available through MyNRMN. But basically, MyNRMN is a platform. It's a virtual platform. I won't call it social media, but it's basically kind of like a social media for those individuals within this field to get networking, professional development, and culturally responsive mentorship. So I'll pass it on to Katie to showcase the MyNRMN features that might be beneficial to you all.
Wonderful. Thank you, Damaris. Before we move on, I'm Damaris information about NRMN. Does anyone have any questions before we move forward? Okay, if there are any questions, especially while I'm going through this or about anything that Damaris said, please feel free to put it in the chat. I'll try to keep an eye on it as I'm going, but if not, if there's anything I miss, we'll definitely catch up with everything in the Q&A at the end. So, all right, welcome to MyNRMN. So first, I'm going to how to access this going forward. In this way, whenever anybody is ready to join MyNRMN, if you would like to use any of these resources, you're welcome to go to this website and sign up for the network. Everything is completely free that you're going to see here. And so all of this is just a free resource to you provided by the NIH. All right, so to get us started, like Damaris said, this is very similar to social networking sites, but the more robust ones, similar to LinkedIn or Facebook or something like that, where you actually have activities and things to do rather than just a newsfeed to follow. So I'm going to provide a quick introduction to all of this here, and then we're also going to open it up for Q&A. Now, I want to point out there are so many different features and everything within this particular platform, so I'm not going to be able to hit on everything today. But just based on what I've been told about this particular group, I'm going to go over a few things that you all might be interested in, and then just know that you are welcome to click on everything and anything in here and start learning more about it as you go through it on your own. So just to get us started, at the top, we have our menu bar up here, and we're going to come in, and actually the first thing I'm going to show you is how to use the search feature, but I'll get back to that in just a little bit. Next, we have a dynamic recommendation algorithm that recommends different people for you to connect with, groups to join, activities for you to do, and that's all based on how you complete your profile as well as how you interact in the network. So you can see from me, I actually previously worked at the University of North Texas Health Science Center with Damaris, and then I worked for Vanderbilt University Medical Center, and both of those are coming up here for my stuff. However, my background is not in STEM. I have a background that's more in the social sciences. And so for me, the social sciences aren't as prevalent. Therefore, my algorithm's not really matching up with the fields of focus here. Instead, they're matching up with my university. But for you all, since you are in the STEM fields and are active in those, you will see your matching algorithm reflect more or different types of responses for you. So next, you can also see that I'm involved in a MyMentor guided virtual mentoring relationship. And you can see I'm in the demo setting for that, so I can show you all the details of it. And I'll go into what this is in just a little bit. Then we have your first avenue to find a mentor, but I'm going to show you another way to tackle that as well. Then just down this side here, we have the normal just update and news feed, so you can see everything that's going on in groups that you're involved with, as well as share your own share your own thoughts, ideas, and files. From there too, we also are constantly collecting feedback and trying to help ourselves as well as everybody else improve. So we have the opportunity when you connect with people to give feedback about your mentoring experiences. And then you can also connect with everybody else that you are connected to within the network and send messages, schedule meetings, that type of thing. And then finally, we come to the recommended groups. And again, this is based on that dynamic matching algorithm that we have that really is utilizing your profile information as well as how you interact in the network just to find other things for you to join so you can broaden your network. All right, now I see a question in the chat. Is there any opportunity for international postdoc researchers? Are international postdocs researchers eligible for mentorship in this program? So I will actually show you an avenue for that in just a little bit. International people are welcome to join as mentors or members in the system. And so how that actually works, I want to explain the member role whenever you join in the network. So if you do not feel comfortable joining as a mentor, but don't qualify to join as a mentee, you can join as a member. Now, the member role, unfortunately, does not allow you to have any interaction with other people. So you won't be able to really network, but you can utilize the tools and resources that are accessible on an individual level. So that means whenever you come in, you can take courses, and I'll show you those in just a little bit. You can also ask a mentor, post journals, and also work on your CV and resume, which I'll also show you that one in a bit too. But you wouldn't be able to network with people or request mentoring as a member in the system. However, as a mentor, you will be able to actually request mentoring from other mentors, and I'll show you that now. So one of my favorite ways to tell people and just help people get started in this, because it is a very, very vast network, is to just have people start using the search. Now it auto-populates here or just auto-fills here saying you can search members, groups, etc. But to me, it's that etc. that is the most important part, because you can also search keywords. And so this is where I like to start. Now I typically search biology because I can spell it. And you can see here that we yield over 4,000 results from the entire MyNRMN network. So we're not just searching people, we're also searching different activities and features that are going on that all are associated with the term biology. Now, I also always recommend for people to start with a very broad search term. And the reason why is that we're going to be able to narrow down and filter these results based on more specific search terms that are under the category of biology. So first and foremost, as we're going through here, I'm going to tap into the filter results. So you can see here that we are able to see members, and that's just people that are in the network, but we can break that down by mentee, mentor, or member. We can also search by groups that are associated with the term biology or have that in their title or description. We also have questions, and I'm going to show you that next. And then also journals. And journals are kind of your own personal blog space within this network where you can go in and write about what you're doing, write your ideas, things going on with you. And then other people actually can go in and view those journal entries and respond to them. From there, you can also search and narrow by institution or more specific interest. So again, this is why I say to start with a broad term, because it'll allow you to then see all the other terms that fall in here, kind of like the mesh terms within PubMed. Then you can also narrow down by city, or even if you want to narrow down by the types of groups that are available. All right, so next within the search results, I want to start diving into everything that's in here, because I know there's a lot of other buttons in here as well. So first, I want to point out that this is filtered based on my own personal algorithm in the system. So if you came into the search term of biology, you would see people in a completely different order. And that's because this is filtered based on who I would be most likely to match with and network with based on my matching algorithm. So I just want to point that out. If your results come up completely differently whenever you do a search for biology, that's the reason why. But so within here, you can see that this is yielding results from mentors and mentees. You can also see the different levels of available blue buttons over on the side based on if they're a mentor or mentee. So I want to point out, I am a mentor within MyNRMN, but with each mentor, I can also request mentoring. Now, we have a couple different formats of mentoring within MyNRMN, and I like to refer to this type of mentoring as a self-structured mentoring, because you're really coming in and it's going to ask you if you want to update your resume or CV, which that's the last thing I'm going to show you today. And so then you make sure that's all updated, and then you send a message. And this is where you can really say what you're looking for in a mentoring connection. Is this just a one-time, hey, I think your job sounds really cool, I want to learn more about it? Is this a, hey, you know, I can see that you've been awarded different grants. I'm currently writing my first grant I'm currently writing and applying for my first K grant. I would really like any advice. Can you be my go-to person as I'm working on this grant? Or, hey, I really like the way that your career has progressed. I really, I find you very inspirational. Can you mentor me along the way for this? So it really is up to whoever is requesting this mentoring to determine what type of mentoring this is going to be and to really solicit that request from them. Now, within this type of mentoring also, you can request mentoring from as many people as you like. There is no limit. And we really encourage people to request mentoring as much as you need from as many different people to really establish that network of mentors for yourself. Then we also have this Ask Me a Question, and you can see that that's next to everybody. And what we found whenever we started MyNRMN was that a lot of people, especially those that were coming in as undergrads or those that were coming in early in their career, they were really just not ready to just initially reach out and request connections with people. That felt too impersonal and too like, I'm requesting you to be a part of my network, but I don't know you, you haven't met me. Why would you say yes to this? So we wanted to be able to give people that opportunity to create their own icebreaker. And so that's why we started this Ask Me a Question. And this allows you to actually solicit a question from somebody without asking them to connect. And this way you can determine if you have a connection before actually requesting that from them. And then finally, you can see the people that I am connected to and the people that I am not yet connected with. And that's just adding them as a connection within your network, similar to how you would friend somebody on Facebook or like them on LinkedIn. I think I got that terminology wrong, but I think you know what I mean. All right, so now I'm going to move on to what I like to think of as the next greatest place to start whenever somebody is brand new into the network. And that is this Ask a Mentor feature. Now, this is really like the concept behind it is more like a Reddit forum or just a way where if you have a question and you are not sure where to point it, you do not have any connections yet, you don't know anybody that can answer this, you can actually come out here and say, hey, I'm going to pose a question to the entire network and see who responds. And so you can see that people have posted questions here, and anybody who has an answer can come in and respond to them and actually have that conversation with them and just provide any feedback. And so this is where I like to recommend, again, if you don't know where to start and you just have something that you need to get out there and ask a question to, but you don't have any connections and you're brand new to this, I recommend starting with the Ask a Mentor feature. All right, so I'm going to pause really quick right there before I move into the next topic. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and dive into MyMentor. Now, MyMentor is a guided virtual mentoring platform. So we've already talked about the flash mentoring or the really self-structured mentoring. This is a guided virtual mentoring. And so what this really is a space where you come in and you connect with somebody else, and then you go through a series of prompts and guided prompts really to really help navigate that mentoring connection. And these guided prompts are all based on a culturally responsive mentorship curriculum. So what that really means is that we're not so much looking at, this mentoring connection is not so much looking at what you're actually doing in your day-to-day, but it's really about building that self-efficacy and building everything that you need in order to just advance from your current stage to whatever you want to get to next. So from here, I'm just going to point out how this actually works because we have a lot more buttons on this one. So you can see that I am in, well, it's a test environment, but I'm in here with my brethren, Barney Stinson. And Barney, because he's a fake person, is not logged in right now. But if he was logged in, I would be able to start a video chat with him immediately. Unfortunately, he's not logged in, so I can't do that. But I can leave him a message. If he was online right now, then I would also be able to actually engage in more of a back and forth, like text messaging. But because he's not there, I can just leave him a message and he'll get an email notification that something's waiting for him. Then we also have just a general discussion board, and we can share files back and forth. Now, within each of the goals, there are also discussion boards as well. So this one is intended just to be a more general one. But then we also have our mentoring goals to work through. Now, you can see that this mentoring connection was started a while ago. So we're definitely behind and overdue on all of these, but that's okay. We're not penalized for this. We just have it saying overdue. If that bothers you, I'm going to show you how to change it. So within each of these, we have a goal that goes through. Now, the duration of these, we anticipate people getting through their goals on about a 1 goal per week basis. But like I said, that is all customizable and can be changed. But for each of these, we have 19 goals followed by a just ending where it's a post survey at the end. But so we anticipate this taking about 4 months to get through, but it's really at your own duration and you can shorten it or extend it as much as you need. Now, all of the goals as you're going through here all have some sort of a prompt. Some have a video, some do not. It just depends on the goal. And then they also have tasks to accomplish. But these tasks are not things that are tangible that have to be turned in. It's really a rubric for a talking discussion as you're going through this. And so this way, it's just helping to guide you have those meaningful conversations and the topics that you would need to cover in order to really have and accomplish this particular conversation. Now, as you're going through here, you can also see that there are edit buttons next to everything. And you can come in and change things up to make it really customized for what you need to accomplish your goals in this. Now, we anticipate that mentees are going to be the drivers on this, but if there's something that a mentor also wants to accomplish and work on with the mentee, they are certainly welcome to initiate that exchange as well. So from here, you can truly change everything about this. You can change the dates on it. You can change any of the text, any of the video. So you are truly welcome to make this what you need to get the most out of it for yourselves. Now, whenever you make any changes in here, it will change it both for the mentee and the mentor. And then that way you're not having to go through and communicate back and forth and say, hey, I made this change, make it on your end. You're able to just make the change and it will be reflected for the next person. And so those editing, or that editing capability, is also available for the tasks as well, or you can even add your own tasks. So let's say you want to go through and do the get to know you, but also you've got a deadline, you've got to turn something in, you need an abstract that you have to get ready. So you can also add that task and have that be, hey, can you review my abstract on this and provide any recommendations? And then as you're chatting through things, you can also share files back and forth and have a whole discussion here. Then once you get done with that, oh, I forgot to point out, then you can mark it as completed. That will update. Oh, it timed out on me. Oh, that's because I didn't mark these as complete. Sorry about that. So then now it's updated, this goal is completed, and I can go back to my goals. Now you can see that I no longer have that goal available here. It's now in my completed goals. But let's say there's something that I didn't quite get in there, or I need to go back and review some of the notes that we made in our discussion. You can reopen this back up. You can mark it as incomplete. You can go through and rework this at any point in time. Then once you get done with all of your goals, you will actually receive a certificate of completion, also marking that you have completed this long mentorship connection, and both mentee and mentor will receive that certificate. So I'm going to pause here again. I know this is a different sort of concept whenever it comes to mentoring and how to engage in a virtual mentoring connection. Does anybody have any questions about the platform that is MyMentor? Damaris and I must be explaining everything really, really well because there are no questions. I'm going to take that as a kudos to me and not that you all are just choosing to be quiet. It's okay. Whenever we get no responses, we get to make up our own things. So I really like it that way. But you are allowed to talk. Don't worry. All right. So next up on the list is courses. Now, this is something that is available for anyone who is only existing in that member role whenever you're in MyNRMN. So you can see here, we have got a whole host of courses, and we are currently in the course catalog. And so we've got a ton of different micro courses that we've actually just added, and you can see that those are here, and they are all part of the Applying to Grad School and Summer Research Experiences set. And then as you go through, you can just scroll and see all the different courses that are available here. So, and we are in the process of adding more courses as well. But if you don't want to scroll through and see what's there, you can also filter and see what is available for you and even show more to get all the details of what's here. And then as you start engaging in these courses, you can also see which courses you have already taken, which ones you're enrolled in, and go through and just really keep it on track for what you've done. And you can see I've engaged in a lot of the courses here, mostly because I do a lot of testing on them. But you're able to see what all is available in here. You can go back and re-pull any certificates from any of these and re-engage with any of these courses too. We also have something set up for administrators that we can actually help you enroll an entire course of people or cohort of people into a course and actually assign it. We had a lot of people actually request that their entire class in a semester is enrolled in a course and required to take something. So if that's something that you're involved in, that you're interested in, please reach out and let us know, and we would be happy to walk you through how to do that. All right, so the next thing I'm going to go into is the groups feature. Now, this is one of our most popular features, and I'm going to go ahead and just start with my groups because I have a whole lot. But so the groups feature, it's very similar to a Facebook group where it's just like-minded people based on a particular topic of interest. So you can see I've got ones that are for specific groups themselves. There are ones that are dedicated to either the builds or an NRMN mission. We've also got a geriatric trauma one. And then you can also see there's all different groups in here too. So we can have invite only groups, we can have public groups, there can be completely private ones. It really is however you want to set this group up. And mentors and mentees alike have the ability to create their own groups. Now I'm going to go through and show you one of my demo groups, and actually I'll show you this one. So in the demo group, I'm showing you this, that way it's not private for anybody at all. You can see that we can put in a description here. You can pin posts to people, so that way they're easy for you to refer back to. You can also share documents back and forth, and there actually is a folder hierarchy structure in there too, so that you can have folders for assignments to turn in or resources to share or any different type of category that you want for that. There's also a group calendar, so that way you can schedule meetings for the group and it'll show up on the overall calendar within MyNRMN. And you can have multiple owners in this group as well. Then down the center, you can share files back and forth, and any files shared here will also be uploaded into the documents folder. And then you can also post things, pin, just like a normal discussion board. If you're looking for a specific post that was shared, you can also do a search for it by filtering by date or by hashtag. Then something I want to point out, if anybody is an owner in this group, you can also start a video call. Now, this is still, I believe it's still in beta testing. I believe it caps out around 50 participants. So if you have more than 50 people in your group, you would need to use something like Zoom or Teams. But if you're just wanting to come in and chat with a group of people and it's under 50, then you are welcome to use this. It right now does not have the capability to do any recording, so it is more akin to FaceTime, but you do have that ability to have a joint, a large group video call in here. All right, and then now I just want to show you, I'm going to go back and show you how to do any edits in this. And then so that way, whenever, if you are ready, oh, I went back too far. This way, so I'm not showing you how to edit, I'm showing you the actual creation screen, but they're the exact same screen. So for every group, you give it a name, you provide a description. If you want your group to be searchable, you can include tags here. Then you can also designate if you want a public group, which anybody can find and join at any time, a private group, which is not searchable at all and will not display in any search, an invite only group, which means that it will display in a search, but that you will actually, people will have to request an invite to join, or you will have to specifically invite them individually. Or you can have an announcements group, and that is where it's more where people can subscribe to it, but there's no actual interaction. You can also have a public facing page and actually designate how you want this labeled. So I would put this as demo group for me, but you could label it as your own thing. Then you can also enable or disable the group notification emails, invite as many different owners as you want for this, and also put in a logo or something or a group snapshot for this. All right, so I have one more feature I'm going to show you, and then we're going to open it up for questions. Now, I mentioned earlier about the CV resume feature, and I'm going to go through this one pretty quickly because I believe at your stage, you all probably already have your CV or resume created. But the reason I love this feature is because it has an additional step to it that really makes it that much easier for you to get your network growing and to get your name out there. So what this is just a rubric to walk you through everything needed in your CV. You can include a photo if you like, you don't have to. And then you can also designate your specific color that you would like. Now, once you get through here, you add everything you need. It walks you through all the different places, and then you click publish. Now, this is where once you click publish, you'll get this lovely lime green bar at the top, and you have your own unique URL for your CV. Now, every time you update your CV, the URL is going to stay the same, but it's just going to update it here. So now with this unique URL, you can put this anywhere you want. You can put this link on a business card. You can put it anywhere you need to get your name out there. But what you can also do, if you use this, if you have a QR code generator, or if you use this handy little tool and say create QR code, you can put this QR code on poster presentations, on any other presentation that you're giving. And this will give everyone quick access to your CV or resume just to help them get to know you and your career that much better, that much faster. And then anybody with this link also has the ability to download a PDF of it as well. So, and then you can see the format is just a little bit different whenever you download it as the PDF, but all the information is still there. All right. So that is my absolute favorite feature of this, because I think that part is really, really cool. But otherwise, I hope you all will find your own favorite feature within MyNRMN and stuff that really pertains to what you're looking for. But for now, I want to open it up to questions. And this can be about anything Damaris presented or anything within MyNRMN. And you're also, you can see there's tons of other features up here that I didn't have a chance to get to. If you would like me to show you any of those, please let me know.
Again, all these resources are here. They're free and are really here to help you network, receive mentorship, to work on any goals you may have, or obtain resources that you might need at this point of your career stage. But it's also an opportunity to give back as well, and and mentor others. I guess you did a good job, Katie. Rochelle will be sending a PowerPoint that you can reference as a resource. Katie did go do this live, but these slides provide a screenshot for most of the resources she highlighted. There's one question in the chat.
Is there a way to get updates on MyNRMN via email? Can you specify what kind of updates you mean? Do you mean system updates, or do you mean notifications of things that you're connected to? Notifications, yes. So anytime that something happens that is pertaining to a connection of yours, a group that you're in, you will receive an email notification. And in addition, so you'll receive an email notification, but you'll also get a little notification up here as well whenever you log in. You're welcome.
I'd be interested in knowing more about how we can make opportunities for example, I coordinate a postdoctoral fellowship program in HIV prevention research. So if I wanted to share that fellowship program opportunity through this network, what kind of interface would I go through to do that? Would I create a profile for myself and offer it that way, or is there a way to just provide announcements?
So yeah, great question. There's actually a couple different ways for that. Ideally, you would create your profile for yourself, and then you could post it within the jobs and internships board. And then whenever it's posted here, and you can see we've got lots of different things that have been posted here. Whenever you post it there, it'll display on everybody's dashboard. And then we also feature those in the newsletter every month. But then there also is within the groups, we have what we call an opportunity board. It would help if I spell it right. Let me just go a different route for this. But we actually have an opportunity board. And so this is an open group to everybody. It has over 800 members in it. And so lots of people come in and post to this group as well. And so that way everyone in here can see it. Now, this one doesn't get flagged as much whenever it comes to things posted in the newsletter, but whenever you post something in a group, that does have group notifications set up for them to receive emails with that. So anytime somebody posts something in that group, everybody in the group will receive an email notifying them about it. But alternatively, if for whatever reason, any of those options are not available to you, you can also email us at info@nrmnnet.net, and we can get the opportunity posted for you as well.
Thanks, that's great. And so anybody can post to that. So if I'm an early stage investigator and something comes across my transom and I think, oh, this isn't, I'm not going to jump on this one, but maybe it would be of interest to my colleagues. Yeah, I could just post it and share it that way.
Yes. And in fact, whenever you're in the jobs and internships board, everything has this little share next to it. And so you can actually share the link to that, and they would be able to go in and see this. And let me see. It might not look appropriate at this. Oh, wrong thing. Hang on. Copy. Let's try this again. Oh, it is looking appropriate. Okay. I was worried it was going to show too much information since I'm a member and an admin. But this is what they would be able to see whenever they come in to look at it. They would be able to see the full listing of it and get all the information they need, even if they're not a member. So you could share this with anybody, whether they're a part of NRMN or not.
This is fantastic and so helpful. I do have just a quick survey that I'm going to launch as a poll for all of our participants here. But please, I hope people will continue asking any questions or opening up additional areas that you might like to have our speakers comment on today. I'd be interested to hear about the future of NRMN, the future of the network in terms of I know it's an NIH funded initiative. Is the funding secure going forward to have it keep going on?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so the current phase 2 funding cycle is scheduled to end next year, June 30th. However, as we've shown, we have grown a big network of over 27,000 members. And so we are currently working on sustainability efforts, whether it's through other grant funding applications, as well as potentially through NIH, the current funder. So we are working towards sustaining NRMN. Thank you. That's a great question.
What are you hearing from people who engage as mentors, and what are some of the benefits for them to do mentoring through the network? Is it are there career benefits that you could speak to?
Yeah, so some of the components, I can highlight a couple. One is professional development. And so really, for example, honing on those courses that focus on mentoring and becoming a more effective mentor, the unconscious bias course. There's also the component, what we have been hearing from some faculty, is that now there are certain requirements maybe for grant applications where there needs to be like a mentorship component if they're submitting a grant, or showcasing mentorship experience. And so that using NRMN as a means to meet maybe that, to leverage NRMN for their grant application, or maybe leverage NRMN to obtain that mentorship or expand their mentorship experience. Those are two big ones that come to mind. Katie, anything, or Katie, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard from people mostly just about utilizing some of the different features and being able to connect with people that are beyond what their borders are. You know, we work with a lot of people in rural areas, if you remember any of the dots that were on the map. And so many people don't have access to strong mentors or even a variety of mentors in their just immediate vicinity. And so what we've really heard from a lot of people is that this is helping them get out of that comfort zone, or really into a place, and I shouldn't have phrased it that way, but out from their immediate vicinity into a broader comfort zone that is more akin to the things that they're interested in working on. And so that's really helped people network and build these bridges across the board, and really help people apply for more grants because they now have access to a different range of faculty that they can collaborate with. So that's a lot of what I've been hearing, seeing everything in the network.
That's fantastic. And now that you're in phase 2, are you seeing even multiple sort of a generational thing? So people who have been mentored and then go on to become mentors in the network?
Yeah, and in fact, what has been really interesting, I've seen it multiple times now, where people will go from mentor to mentee to mentor to mentee, really just depending upon their particular stage and what they're working toward. So, for example, I worked with somebody who was a mentor in the system, but then they were starting their own business, and so they went back to being a mentee because they were seeking mentoring from other people. I've seen multiple people that initially were, again, mentors in the system because they were running their labs and doing things, but then they switched to an administrative role and they felt completely lost. They wanted to reach out and ask for help. So they went to a mentee role and then came back to a mentor role once they felt confident about it again. So there's been lots of different ways that people have worked to engage in the network in that sort of way.
Oh, I see.
I see there's a question. Yeah.
From Joe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, so thank you for this presentation. Can you talk about specific efforts that NRMN is participating in or spearheading, just in terms of increasing diversity of mentorship on the database?
Damaris, do you want to take that one?
Can you expand a little bit in terms of?
Yes, I mean racial and ethnic diversity of mentorship in the database on the platform.
I see. And I don't have our connections by, we have a good graphic on connections by race and ethnicity. But just to your point, to join NRMN, there isn't a criteria that you have to be from a certain background. However, this effort, we are very intentional about reaching out to historically marginalized individuals, including those from racial and ethnic marginalized groups. And so we do have a good number. I think it's 3/4 of mentees are from underrepresented backgrounds, and our mentors, 1/3 are from underrepresented backgrounds. Katie, do you have an updated figure? That was the last percentage I had.
Yeah, I don't have an updated figure at this time, just based on today's data, but I can tell you we are working on a manuscript on this right now. We're actually in the process of trying to get it published, and it actually demonstrates all of this data about how the recruitment efforts, where we've been really focused on working with MSIs and those at these other institutions, especially focusing on community colleges, and really how that effort has materialized when it comes to those that are in our network, and even further, how those that are in our network are connecting with each other. And so we actually have all that data. It is in the works and being published, so I can't say too much about it right now because it's under review, but that is forthcoming hopefully soon. So sorry, I can't be more specific with that, but.
Did that answer? Is that what you were looking for? Did that answer your question?
Well, yes, it outlined the current state of affairs. As you said, 1/3 of the mentors are from historically marginalized backgrounds, that seems appropriate. I would say certainly correct, just based on my own just preliminary review. So I was just wondering what the strategies were to increase those numbers to be more representative.
Yeah, and we have several tactics. So we try to, like Katie was saying, work closely with minority serving institutions to increase diversity of our mentors from those groups, as well as attend certain conferences, events, outreach to specific organizations that are really servicing those individuals. But as you alluded to, it's nationwide, right? So those at the faculty level, senior level are not necessarily as diverse as we want it to be. And so we are working slowly, right, towards that, but our numbers are mirroring that nationwide kind of perspective as well. Anything you want to add,
Yeah.
Katie?
Yeah, I was just going to say, something we've also been doing is really trying to encourage the life cycle of mentoring. So we want people to come in as we want them to come in at whatever stage they're comfortable. But what we want to encourage mentees to do is once they're comfortable, once they feel like they're in a good place in their education or career, and this can be whatever, if they're an undergrad, but now they're a senior and they want to help mentor freshmen, if they are first year in grad school and they want to help mentor undergrads. So it can be any level, can be a mentor, depending upon, how you feel comfortable and who you feel comfortable mentoring to. But so we want to really encourage people that have gone through being a mentee in this to then give back and be a mentor. And that's really, I think, how we're going to shift that number from being the 1/3 to being half to being 3/4. And I mean, our ultimate goal is for the mentors and the mentees to be more representative of the overall population in the United States. And we think through this life cycle of mentoring, that is something that's going to help push this, as well as so many other initiatives that are going on just across the country and being funded through all different other things.
One of the things I would add, so thank you for those responses, and I think those are really great efforts. I would just add that, outside of these sort of formal structures of mentorship, by and large, faculty and academicians of historically and ongoingly, I would say, disenfranchised or marginalized backgrounds tend to carry disproportionate share of mentorship at their various institutions, generally speaking. And so really, I think as you all are thinking through your strategies, just to, taking that also into consideration in terms of what are some specific incentivizing that could be injected into the process to encourage that life cycle that you're speaking about. Because at this moment, I would certainly say that, again, outside of these sort of structured mentorship opportunities, that is still ongoing on an informal level, where there is, again, disproportionate amount of mentorship and teaching that are on the backs of these folks. So I think with that in mind, and as the encouragement for that life cycle is part of the strategy, that, whether it's through the avenue of incentivizing or some other kind of way, to sort of be intentional around that as we are moving forward to increasing the representation. But thanks for
Thank you so much for that. Yeah. The minority tax is definitely very real, as you have brought up. And so that is something we try to think about, but I thank you for reiterating that needs to be on the front and forefront whenever we are doing these initiatives. So we appreciate that.
Thank you. And I think also NIH has heard this as well. And I think that's why they're also incorporating that mentorship component as some of the requirements to apply for grants. And they also have a lot of initiatives to tackle structural issues that are happening in this environment. So thank you so much for bringing that up. And we'll definitely take that for further discussion with our team. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to thank our speakers today so much. This is a really important conversation, and thank you all for hanging in a little bit over our time. I didn't want to cut in and end the session early, because I just think it's really important to have these conversations, and I know how much our speakers also appreciate being able to hear from you, our participants, directly. So just thanks to all of you for being here, for learning with us today about the National Resource Mentoring Network. Thank you so much to our speakers for bringing that and helping us to be more aware of those resources. And we will be posting the recording within 7 to 10 days on the YouTube channel for the Health Equity Action Network. And just once again, thanks to all of you, and have a great rest of your day.